We're in
Yep.
Burmese for Teutonic Tanks in orange, Juyhou with Malay in purple. We have Emu Warrior in blue with Koreans. In yellow, we have the Otter One with the Portuguese. AR-12 with the Magyars in gray. Barles with the Mongols in red. Somero with the Poles in green. And Mastyjames here in teal with the Dravidians.
Yep. And you know what? I don't even hesitate to say it. This is an S tier King of the Hill free for all final. You might not recognize all the names as being the normal top tournament players, but I will assert that these are like probably eight of the top free for all King of the Hill players out there. From some of what I've seen, like I don't know, you'd be hard pressed to see Teutonic Tanks' performance and the level of competition and not give him credit as being a clear top 10 player for these settings.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's had some history of wins in King of the Hippos as well. So, I mean, there's a point where in the qualifiers you feel like the top dogs, as far as Elo is concerned, have a large target on their back. But here, I mean, all of these players have won their own qualifier to make it here. A lot of names that many people in the community recognize. And yeah, we're going to see how long this game's going to be. I imagine we're in for a treat here, though. I mean, lots of big names. Be super surprised if someone takes this by holding the monument early.
It will certainly be thrilling, but I would not be super surprised. I'll stand by my estimate that I've been saying all tournament. There's about a 20% chance that it gets taken on the initial countdown, honestly. I mean, free for all is chaotic. Like it's the meta, if you can even call it that, is so rough. Even if there is a meta, it's hard to know what role you're supposed to play in it. Um, yeah, like this could go short, this could go long, this could go mid, but either way, I'm sure these players are all going to give this everything they have here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're already seeing Teutonic Tanks want help in the mid. He doesn't want Somero to have any additional resources, saying he has one of the best ecos in the game here. And Emu Warrior says he's on his way. So, I mean, this is going to get very interesting here. See how things progress, obviously. As far as relic distribution, something that we're going to have to pay attention to here, we have one in the north between Mastyjames and Teutonic Tanks. Looks like one's in front of Teutonic Tanks and Juyhou, who also has one in the back corner over here. Emu Warrior has a couple near him, in between him and Otter, actually. Otter with Portuguese, Vitoria, something we might see. Just have to find out. Then we have another
Oh.
relic over here.
There's no might about it. Fatoria is the game plan.
And it's viable, right? We saw it work. I mean, we had Lucas Dukas in his qualifier that Otter won actually have his few of them converted. So we had some
Yeah.
Bulgarian Vitorias. So it'll be
Mhm.
interesting to see if he gets to that point, though. I mean, his opponents are aware of the Vitoria. They know how valuable it could be. And I mean, AR-12 and Emu Warrior on either side of him there could try to put a stop to that early.
If there's one thing I'm sure of, like with 100% confidence, is that we will see Fatorias. Actually, quite to the contrary, I bet his neighbors are actually hoping he builds Fatorias. Because converting them must be a prospect on their minds. Yeah, I am certain that the Fatoria is actually the primary reason why Otter picked it, and those will be seen in due time for sure.
Yeah, yeah. We'll see what happens, though, guys. Things will unfold here. Obviously, we've had a lot of late game situations. I think 4 of the 8 qualifiers went over 2 hour in game time. So
Something like that. I don't. Yeah, I guess in-game time, correct. 2 hours seems to be the benchmark for a long game, and we did have four of those.
I think we had the arena game went over 3 hours in game time. That one was really lengthy. That Emu Warrior pulled out the victory there.
Yep, really taking the frozen corn that he uses to cool his PC to the limit.
Only Malay can convert. Is he the only Civ here with redemption?
Burmese not have redemption? It doesn't
I
matter.
don't
They're all
know.
the way across the map.
It'll be
Yeah,
interesting to see, nonetheless. We'll see if that comes into play here. I mean, it would make sense to choose Portuguese for that purpose, right? So, a lot of space in the corner of the map, obviously, as well, so could fortify that up. Obviously, we'll start to see walls here before too long, but Otter is aware of the Fatoria conversion. He would probably just delete it. Yeah, it would make sense as well.
And yeah, while we have a little bit of a lull at the start of the game, I'll be sure that we give our sponsor at least one proper plug during the grand finals. This tournament is made possible by Medora Instant Payments at Any Price. They're like a payment service provider built on the nano cryptocurrency. So if you have like a web store or a game with in-app purchases or something like that, please check them out. They gave us 250,000 Banano to sponsor this tournament, which is about $1,000. And yeah, we are extremely grateful for that. Not too many companies are tossing around $1,000 to sponsor Age of Empires tournaments.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a free-for-all King of the Hill tournament, too, by their request. So, hopefully, they are enjoying it as well. I know Patrick has been around every day observing the stream. So, if you guys see Patrick Medora in chat, make sure to tell him thank you.
Yeah, man. I remember like 5 or 6 years ago when I was just watching the King of the Hippo games on YouTube. I would have never imagined that somebody would someday give me $1,000 to host my own version of the thing. Maybe we could have gone a little harder with the memes on it, but it feels like King of the Hill Free for All is already crazy enough, and we have actually done a few deviations with the settings. If we're trying to host a pro caliber tournament, it's probably best to not get too crazy with the maps or anything.
Yeah, indeed. Lots of chatter here, guys. They're wanting to be friendly a little bit here, at least. We'll see how all that works out. The Otter is trying to talk about peace with AR-12. We'll see what happens here. Obviously, everybody here wants to win the grand prize. They do not want to lose this game. Juyhou is making a heavy presence known, and for anyone who is just joining, the mid is visible for all players here, so everyone, you can click through if you guys want to see it, can see the same in the middle. And yes, Weasel, this is the grand final, $1,000 prize pool tournament, and we've made it to the finale here.
A ton is on the line here. And these players have all proven themselves to be very strong. So we're really going to get the treat of watching the best fight out for a huge prize under unusual settings. And I mean, I'm just overwhelmed by how different these games are. The normal 1v1 RM. I guess like the presence of a pro scene and so many 1v1 RM and even like 2v2 RM team game tournaments and these slight... we gotta pause.
I have no messages.
I have no messages either. I bet someone just paused because, like, I don't know, a cat knocked something over in their house or something like that.
I don't know. We'll see what happens here. I don't know.
They're talking about the chat.
But
you know, I don't know. I don't think it's anything. I'm sure they'll resume in a second. But I was saying, yeah, we've seen so much high-level competitive play, development of the meta, everything to do with these standard settings. But for a lot of people, man, free-for-all, more custom game modes are the true AoE. Like, when I first started playing, I mean, almost everybody's not playing competitive RM off the bat. Maybe things are a little bit more different these days, but there's a cohort of people for whom free-for-alls and other uncommon settings are actually what AoE is all about, and I think this tournament has brought out a lot of those folks.
Yep, Barles saying, I'm not saying anything because your fate is sealed to everyone, so we'll see what he's referring to. Maybe fairly confident here to be able to take this one after taking his qualifier earlier today. Barles was a replacement player today. He jumped in. We've been trying to get him in a couple days, actually. It just hasn't worked out, and we needed a replacement player. So Barles stepped in to replace someone who didn't show up and ended up qualifying here in his game. So we'll see how he does here today. Lots of people were talking about it. Barles, I forget what they were exactly saying, but it was something like Barles
Basically,
stay away, right? So
yeah, he definitely has a reputation, and I get the vibe that it's more than just his 1v1 performance, because there have been a lot of highly rated 1v1 players here, but the unique reaction that Barles got, I don't know, man, maybe he is known a bit for his free-for-all or uncommon settings play.
yeah, definitely. We'll see what happens here, though. Lots of direct messages. These guys are working the Diplo even though there's no Diplo kind of situation. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, Monument obviously is counting down, but it's not at stake of winning the game at this point. 350 years remaining. Juyhou here, though, sitting comfortably. Booming behind this has 46 vills. No, sorry, 39 vills. Somero leading with the 46 right now.
Yep, of these civs, I would expect Poles to be the fastest to get to tremendous vill counts.
Yeah, insane economy. It's only the farming that makes it crazy. Obviously, we are playing on the most current patch of the game, so their mining situation has been slightly nerfed.
Yeah, it feels like a heavy nerf as somebody who's played with it. They also have the healing vills, which could be construed as an eco bonus. But yeah, it's really the fact that they get some of their farm food up front upon building it, which just makes it so easy to boom big.
Absolutely. Looks like Teutonic Tanks is going to end up with 2 relics. AR-12 already has 2. Mastyjames with 1. Looks like we have Emu Warrior could snag a couple potentially, or the Otter One over here closest to it. Otter already has a monastery out.
Yeah, 2 relics is about as much as you can hope for, and any player who gets that should be very happy with it.
Teutonic Tank's going for a 3rd even, so could be a good position for him. Burmese, he can see the location of the relics, which is quite beneficial here. He can see that there's only a few left on the map that haven't been taken, so it's a bonus that may be underestimated for these settings here.
I bet that factored into his civ pick very much, actually.
Yeah, I mean, he won the first qualifier with Slavs, so we'll see what he can do with Burmese here.
Yeah, I mean, as we said, 8 civs were banned, and we also disallowed repeat picks. So players are really getting into the depths of the 2nd and 3rd tier of civs here. So I assume they all have some sort of plan or idea for what they're going for, but by no means would I expect everybody to have some super high confidence powerhouse strat to back up their civ pick.
Fair enough, fair enough. Walls have yet to come up here. Really all that much. Barles has a few stone walls over here, but otherwise players just trying to get the town centers down, get the monasteries down, boom up. 250 pop, so we will have to pay attention to villager counts. Could really come into play. In a lot of the qualifiers we saw many players booming up to extremely high number of villagers, over 200 in some cases. Obviously not all the qualifiers went super late, but the ones that did, things looked pretty good there. So
I mean, being full pop with a big resource bank is kind of one of the requirements to take it. At 250 pop, players, yeah, should be booming big, approaching 200 vills and probably holding steady there for the majority of the game.
yeah, Teutonic Tanks is stonewalling in that monastery. He wants to secure those relics for the long term here. Oh my god, he's got another one coming in.
Well, I'm glad I picked him as my favorite for the game now.
Yeah, 4 relics is huge. I mean, he's probably going to lose this monk. Or not. It looks like Mastyjames is following Teutonic Tanks for some reason. Very strange. But, yeah, otherwise players starting to expand out from their original starting base to boom, obviously. Castle from Barles here will neutralize this town center and stop that gold intake for AR-12 here. AR-12 going to be sitting next to Barles. Somero to the north as well. So, fighting players here. Let's pay a lot of attention to see where the fights are going down.
And I'm sure that Barles does have a psychological advantage over AR-12 here. It's like a 2,500 player versus an 1,800 player. While AR-12 is certainly still a threat, I'm sure that they both know that when push comes to shove, Barles would be the stronger one if they fight. So Barles setting up that castle on the border is really starting the war between those players.
And Barles in chat early on said he wasn't going to say anything because their fates were sealed. He was talking to everyone in the game at that point, so we'll see how this works out for him here. He did start to wall up over here, and Somero told him to go back. They didn't agree to this, and looks like he respected it for the time being. He is going to get away with some of the lumber over there, though, so we'll see how things really work out. Teutonic Tanks, 4 relics. An impressive haul right there, and he's got those stone walled in, booming up. Looks like we are starting to see the walls come up everywhere now as players are trying to get a good position on the map. No one committing anything to the mid here other than Juyhou, or Juyhou, however you pronounce his name.
Let's go with Juyhou.
Juyhou, there we go, sure. Sure, if I can keep remembering that anyways.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of looks like a phonetic pronunciation. I don't know. I guess he's Korean. I don't know, man.
Sure, sure. Castle gonna come up here for AR-12. It looks like we are gonna have an all-out fight as castles have come down all over the place here. And AR-12 and Barles are looking to be going at it here before too long.
Yep, and honestly, Mangadai feels like they should do good work against AR-12. Barles is a really unlucky draw for AR-12 to have as an aggressive neighbor there.
Yeah, and the Otter is walling up pretty heavily on that side as well. So he's looking to stay secure here in mid. He's not up to the Imperial Age yet, so no Fatorius in play. But a lot of stone walls coming up for Otter. Looks like AR-12 might actually be headed towards the mid here. Interesting time to head mid when he's starting to deal with things at home. But so far it's just castles, no military yet.
Indeed. As, yeah, we're getting to the 200-year mark. It's still boom time for all the players. No real need to start queuing the military yet. The fighting needs to begin relatively shortly. Players should be starting to get their techs and their military buildings down.
Yeah, looks like Mastyjames and Somero already going at it up here as well.
Oh boy. Yeah, Mastyjames a little bit later to the punch here as the Hussar flood into his base. Somero looks like he wants to take out Mastyjames early enough to be able to harvest all the gold that he was gifted by the map. And looking at the score alone, it looks like Somero kind of is well poised to crush him.
Yeah, I mean, he has the Winged Hussar spam, he has some rams in here. But Mastyjames not going to go without a fight here. He does have the halves on the field. He will clean up the rams with time. He has a lot of production buildings forward that were constructed. Going to take a hit here, obviously, but I think he should be able to survive for the immediate time. It looks like Somero is going to actually go back.
Yep, as we see Mastyjames calling out in the chat that green is being aggro, tipping people off, like maybe if Barles wants to stab Somero in the back, you know, then that was a good time. But clearly, there's something good going on with Masty and Emu Warrior. I think these guys are teenagers, brothers living under the same roof. So definitely there's some household culture going on that makes these guys strong at free-for-all to both qualify for these grand finals.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, it's going to be interesting to see how things work out for them. If Emu Warrior has to use corn on a laptop, I wonder what Mastyjames' PC setup is looking like. So, hopefully, all goes well there. Looks like we have a fight over here though between Barles and AR12. Barles is stealing relics right out from under here. Goes after that monastery, starts to take those out as well. So, tough starts for AR12 and for Mastyjames here.
Yep, it kind of looks like the two top 1v1 RM players, Somero and Barles, being spawned next to each other gives them kind of cause for a common alliance. They seem to both understand that they'll have peace between them and take out their neighbors in order to be strong in late game, which is just very unfortunate for AR12 and Masty.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of players benefiting from this, obviously, with everyone else not using their resources here. It looks like Somero came forth with a full work. Not going to get that, though. Purple Man, he's over here with Malay Spam, potentially, with 150 years. Take a look at his resources. He's sitting on a pretty healthy bank right now. To see how that plays out.
Yep, and Teutonic Tanks is trying to talk everybody up to taking out Purple for him, but I don't know. I don't see anybody getting ready to push mid. Juyhou, I suppose, has a chance at it here, but in the grand finals, I think a little bit more so than in other games, players will show up to some degree and contest this initial mid.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we have a lot of military on the field, obviously. Be interested to see how things work. AR-12 has a bunch of vills over here in the middle of the map, just taking up resources from in front of Somero's base. So, see if that prompts a response here. We do have a switch here, though, as Somero goes forward and resets the counter to his color. Wasn't much of a fight there. I don't think the units were really all that upgraded. No Fatoria sightings as of yet here either.
It's just a matter of time.
Yeah. We'll see how things progress here. Obviously, we've got fighting all over the map. Bits and pieces here and there. I believe AR-12 has taken the worst of it, however. He is at the bottom of the score right now and continually getting pushed back into what was a safe enough space, but Castle from Otter pushes him away, and he's actually just headed more towards the mid now.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you lose your original base and you just have a relocated pocket, you're pretty in trouble. Looks like AR is going to survive, but Barles is really putting the stomp on him. A 2-to-1 score ratio. AR is just, if you look at the minimap, AR is just getting squeezed out of existence here. I think that AR, I don't know, man. He can't push back into Barles. I don't know if he has the strength to push into Otter. He might just get erased.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be difficult, obviously, but, I mean, this is winner take all here, right? So, they have to try to make it the best possible situation for themselves. Barles looks like he is getting attacked here a little bit. Teutonic Tanks is running some Hussar through, but... Oh, hello, elite battle elephants from Malay. 100 years, we have 2-handed swordsmen, elite battle elephant. Emu Warrior says we need to go. And, yeah, that is going to be quite a force if they aren't fighting this off here nice and early. We have a huge push in the north, though. Mastyjames getting just demolished here. And calling him out in chat a little bit. But that is going to be even harder to survive as mass migration is already under place here.
Yep, both Somero and Barles just absolutely wrecking their neighbors. And kind of hilarious that Somero is calling for mid, you know, start the game already, while he's doing absolutely nothing to help in that regard. In fact, he's taking out one of the other players who could help with mid.
Yeah, I mean, Somero is here with some units. There's a ton of military here, though. So if players aren't coming together, which it looks like they are coming together now, this is really hard force to kill, right? 50 elite war elephants, but whenever you have 4 players here, should be doable here.
Yeah, I see multiple players bringing decent Halb armies. This is a huge mess of buildings with short reinforcement lines, however. It's going to be a strong effort required to clean this up, as the Mangadai are actually plowing down a bunch of the Halbs which would defend it. The players need to coordinate here. This is a little bit threatening, for sure.
Yeah, Teutonic Tanks is contributing to try to fight back over here with the economy and get everything from behind. But this is a lot of war elephants. There are 60 of them, and they continue to produce. It's going to be hard to kill.
If you recall, Juyhou won his qualifier by holding mid from the start as Gujar's. And honestly, oh boy, he has more units here, it looks, than any other player, like, than all the other players combined. I guess the elephants are big. Might be, like, contributing to the appearance.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot, and the spam is just non-stop. He is running out of food, though. So it's coming down to the wire. 50 years. There's a lot of military still here from everyone else. 60 plus war elephants in the mid. 47 years. It's going to be close, but I think he might fall short because the siege is arriving. The onagers are here. The halbs are getting in. It just maybe not enough economy behind this, as Teutonic Tanks is wrecking the economy behind this pretty securely. If he can't hold the mid, he might actually be pretty well killed off here. We are getting down to 37 years remaining.
Yeah, this is definitely it for him. There's no reason to leave anything left behind. As the production gets cleared up, and he doesn't even have the resources to produce, it's looking like he's getting taken care of. It was a very strong, legitimate attempt. But as we both kind of guessed, players are showing up to defend mid in this finals.
Yeah, 30 years. There's not much left here. Mostly down to these 13 war elephants, a few two-handed swordsmen. There's not much in the spam there. He calls GG, and looks like it will be cleaned up. Hell of a try in the grand finale here, but he's pretty dead now behind this. Yep. He's going to try to stay in and fight, I'm sure, but, I mean, Teutonic Tanks is just rolling over the base here, has a castle in the farming economy, trebbing everything down. Somero has all but finished off Mastyjames here as well. There's not a whole lot left, and actually, Juyhou calls GG, just taps out.
Yep, I mean, when he said the words GG, I was waiting for the resignation. If you say that, you are expected to actually resign.
Yeah, Mastyjames looking like he's down to a very limited pop space here. About 50 vils or less here.
Yeah, in a 250
here up here.
Yeah, in a 250 pop game, to be down to 60 pop while multiple players are strongly pop capped. Some of those players are 2k5 elo. You're gonna struggle to ever come back unless they literally never find your secret base. And in this case, the base is not secret at all. Mastyjames, expect him to get defeated.
Yeah, he's getting taken out by Somero here pretty handily. On the other side, at the same time, AR-12 having a very, very hard time here. Somero saying, you know, calling out for him to go mid here. There's nothing in the mid, really, just a few halbs, so this doesn't look all that threatening behind this. Teutonic Tanks has a lot of space open to him now as well, and as well as he's getting some gold here, which is quite valuable. Obviously, something that he's probably very happy about.
And I noticed Somero calling for mid again. This is the second time he's done it. I guess you can call it the speech play. What people say in chat is a part of the strategy here. And yeah, almost a joke as Somero says tanks is dangerous, make sure he, doesn't keep it while there's like literally 0 units on mid.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, all of these players have proven they can win a free-for-all, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how things shake out. But Somero using the words, just trying to get others to fight tanks, I think, at this point. Looks like Mastyjames might be given a small reprieve. Maybe not. Looks like he's just gone for the castle here.
I think it's a true tenet of these of the strategy to properly defeat the players who you crush. And Somero doesn't even need to dedicate that much more effort in order to get Mastyjames permanently out of the game. Mastyjames has nowhere to run. Might as well bring him down to 0 pop.
Yeah, I mean, he's surviving. He's trying to survive. Teutonic Tanks has a few hustler headed that way, too. I don't think Teutonic Tanks really wants that to be something that he has to deal with later, so not too surprising here. Teutonic Tanks has cleaned up most of the buildings over here that were once part of Purple's base, but we'll see. It's getting down to it. We're already down 1 player from the game. Mastyjames on the verge of elimination here. Everyone else full strength, really. AR12 is having a hell of a time over here, though, dealing with Barles. Holding off, though, doing an okay job here to securely defend his base. The Otter One has 3 Futurias up and running, so the Otter is gonna stonewall up like crazy. He's also got a bunch of bombard cannons here. We have seen the Otter One and Emu Warrior, who are next to each other at this point. We've seen them both drag games out very, very heavily. So, not surprised to see them trying to position themselves to save resources at this point.
And I also know that Otter and Emu are familiar with each other. They play free-for-alls a lot. I'm sure they're not going to team or anything like that, but if they both have a peaceful border there, I bet neither of them is going to want to disturb that. I'm sure that they're both very happy and grateful to have a neighbor who's not attacking them.
Yeah, I mean, there are some bombard cannons in defense here is about it, but for the most part, obviously the middle control being the goal. Players experienced in free-for-all aren't really trying to kill each other off unless there's a big gap as far as skill is concerned, as we see Somero taking Mastyjames down to basically nothing. It looks like he's coming back to try to finish the job now with a ton of Winged Hussar. AR-12 hanging in there. He has some Magyar Cav Archers. They're not elite Cav Archers yet, but they are quite good. Obviously against the Mangudai, not the greatest, but better than some units for sure.
I think they outrange the Mangudai, so they have 1 tactical advantage.
Yeah, Teutonic Tanks, very much like in his first qualifier, stone walling in. Delete tanks. I declare war, Somero says. So they're looking to fight. Looks like he deleted the walls there, actually. Burmese elephants also very good here. Lots of HP, obviously, on the elephants. Something we'll have to pay attention to. Fatoria numbers only at 3. You can see the bank just rising here, though, for the Otter One.
3 is a good number. I did check between games. The Fatoria takes up 20 pop space, so he still has 190 pop space behind that. That's good. To go much less, I mean, you're just, like, sacrificing it too much, I feel. 3 is a good number. You can maybe push it a little, but what we were seeing in the previous Portuguese game where it was like 6 Fatoria or something is just insane. You have nothing but Fatorias at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. Otter has some military in the field. He's sitting back, just kind of waiting for things to happen here. Sending a few halbs into mid. Nothing too crazy. Somero and tanks finishing up Mastyjames here. Really, there's There's not much left for Mastyjames. I think his population is down to basically nothing. There's a few war elephants. One villager, actually. Not
Yep,
sure
I
where
appreciate
that was
him.
at. Oh, it's vault in right here.
I appreciate him hanging with just the one Vil and a dream. But, yeah, he's never coming back.
Yep, Somero is taking a lot in the center here. It's like he's going to take a stab at holding this. It's down to 86 years. A lot of players are preoccupied. We got fortified walls coming up already. No one calling this out just yet, but there are the pings, and everyone should be headed there. This is a very tough position to hold here, though, as we have Otter coming forward with hand cannons, halbs. He has arbalests. The Obuk are doing a good job against these elephants, though. It looks like... I don't know if this is going to be able to be held here. The military numbers are dropping quite quickly as everyone is converging on the mid. The elephants are actually holding their own here. All that HP.
Emu is blocked out by these walls as Otter opens a nice hole for him to run in. Actually, he just took out the corner piece, which doesn't open it at all. Okay, yeah. There we go.
Deletes and runs back. Somero thinks again. One Vil still for Mastyjames. He does not have enough for a town center, but he does have a market, so he could sell some wood and buy some if he wanted to. Otherwise, I mean, AR-12 and Barles still fighting it out over here. Honestly, it wouldn't be a bad opportunity with Somero tried to go after Barles from behind, potentially, here. There's very little defenses on that side. But it looks like he's still trying to focus the mid.
I mean, a lot of players just fielding huge armies near mid. If there's like 4 or 5, and I think there's 6 fullish strength players, all reasonably capable of defending mid, it feels kind of impossible for somebody to even theoretically take mid at this phase of the game. But it's, yeah, I like what Otter's doing. He's sending a few units out there. You have to at least probe it, you know? Like, maybe their players will be distracted while you're sitting on mid, and you'll get a good jump start. But as far as just a raw run out to mid and hold it for 100 years goes, that doesn't even feel possible for anybody right now.
Yeah, I mean, AR-12 is really the only player not at full strength other than Mastyjames, who's barely held on at this point. And so there's 6 players, really, with military. We do have Mastyjames getting that town center up, finally, with 1 Vil. So he's got a few Vils, actually, now. He's going to stonewall in some war elephants on this gold. He wants to prevent Somero from taking it, maybe. A lot of res for Barles spent against AR-12 in this war over here.
AR-12 putting up a very noble fight against Barles, while the score difference between them continues to be about 2-1. And if you look at the map control distance, AR has just a sliver. I guess Magyars with the Magyar Hussar are like just an absolutely excellent trash sieve. So all he needs is some farms and some castles to keep going. But as I say that, his castle's getting trebbed. AR is holding on. I think he's eventually going to fall, but it's been a long, noble hold.
Yeah, he's definitely doing everything he can to stay in this one, fighting tooth and nail here. Mid control is not super well controlled right now. 79 years, obviously a long time. Teutonic tanks bringing those elephants out yet again. Great unit here to deal with this, I suppose, right? He's got a good army there. He's got lots of space to expand, lots of farms. Gold
As somebody who's
count,
played,
very nice for him as well.
Having played Poles a lot, elephants are so difficult for Poles to deal with. Yeah, the Poles do not have a good counter to elephants in their tech tree. So long as Tanks is chilling at mid with that ball, I don't think Somero can realistically take the monument.
And Somero's going back yet again to try to finish off Mastyjames. He really doesn't want to let him boom back into this one here. AR-12 is continually losing position here. Again, put up a great fight, but I don't know how much longer he'll be able to survive. Res will be starting to run dry for him as well. Teutonic Tank's even gonna get the keep upgrade. It's looking pretty good for Teutonic Tanks, Somero, Barles, Otter One, and Emu Warrior right now. Still all heavily popped up. Fattori account, for those who are wondering, is still 3. The Otter One has a large bank of resources piled up. He's not really fighting a lot, so things are looking fairly good for him there.
Yep, as it looks like the map is being split between 5 players here, with Somero and Barles each having a quarter. Tanks having basically a quarter too, and then Otter and Emu sharing the last slice of the pie. So yeah, the game has kind of been dwindled down to 5 viable competitors here.
Yep. Shout out to Mastyjames for hanging on though. He's trying to be able to still be in this game, and I appreciate it. Hopefully, he can annoy someone later or something, right? So,
I mean, if the game runs, there is a chance he can get up to full pop. I wouldn't discount him as having a 0 probability chance of winning. If this game goes for hours, and he's not defeated, I would actually expect him to get back up to very strong strength. Yeah.
Yeah. Somero is saying go kill Emu, so he's wanting people to fight, essentially, even though he's holding the mid right now. Well, I guess he's not. I guess Otter is just for a moment or two here while he has some halbs in the center, but go or I will be forced to fight you, he says.
Yep, he's busting out all the tricks. I mean, he's going to have to use his speech play here. I mean, frankly, he can't beat tanks. With tanks as relics and the elephants, like, Somero's going to need to rely on other players hurting each other in order to win. Like, he's literally staring down an enemy who I don't think his tech tree is capable of beating. So, yeah, Somero's just going to have to dance, posture, and prep, and hope the enemies kill each other.
Yeah, I mean, Barles has been fighting with AR-12 for so long that it has eaten up a lot of res, obviously. AR-12 is slowly falling to this, but he's putting the fight up all the way. Teutonic Tank's tired of the chatter over here. He's going to send the elephants in.
Yeah, honestly, Polish monks versus the elephants would be the thing to do. But it wouldn't surprise me if that actually was attempted, that tanks might actually get heresy. So,
yeah, Otter's been sitting back for a long time. I'm going to check the res banks for everyone. If we just look at the bottom of the screen here, guys, we have a ton of res actually for a lot of players. Emu Warrior has the largest banks of them all here, actually, staying out of the fights for the most part, sitting with a lot of resources, 8,700 gold remaining as well. Relics 4 for Teutonic Tanks, 1 for Somero, 2 for Barles, and 1 for Otter. Still not sure how this one's going to go. Obviously, we have a lot of players still in this.
yeah, and there's also definitely a clash of styles here. Emu and Otter have shown that they just love to sit back. I guess their ideal game plan is sit back and at some point between the 1 and 2 hour marks probably make your big play towards mid when it seems opportune. These higher level players, clearly they just want to take as much map control as possible, just be as big and strong and combative as possible. It makes sense. It's the way you would expect somebody with a ton of raw power to go. And Teutonic Tanks is somewhere in the middle, man. He feels like he's extremely powerful. And I also get the sense that he's really waiting to make a calculated and strong hold on mid.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect this to go for quite some time here, though. Especially with players making the games last longer to try to wait for the best possible time to go for the mid here. And, yeah, Emu Warrior and Otter, they are sitting back. They have quite the score here, but their score is exceedingly low compared to everyone else because they have not been killing units from the enemy. So we see the Otter One losing a ton of villagers here. But Teutonic Tanks does have a very unique position. He has a lot of forward production right on mid, as well as walls. Teutonic Tanks did help a little bit with dealing with Mastyjames, but it looks like we may see the end of Mastyjames here, as Somero has come back to finish the job. Just a few vills taking gold there. Air 12 and Barles have stopped fighting for the most part.
AR-12 has done an excellent job making it a very costly endeavor for Barles to fight him. And it looks like AR-12 might be rewarded with survival here, but his sliver of the map with no mid control doesn't really look viable for taking it. But I guess in these free-for-alls, you can always hope that if you survive long enough, the chaos will somehow provide you an opening to come back into it.
Yeah, it looks like Barles is going to go after Otter here. But he is going to have to worry about AR-12 here, as he's going to try to put some raids in. You get to the economy of Barles a little bit.
Yep, and Barles' economy is a little open. These players with like a ton of map control, Somero and Barles, when you get down to it, their bases are prone to raiding, whereas the much more compact base of Otter, like, quite literally unraidable, unless you just take out everything. You can't just run some cavalry in and kill his eco.
Yeah, Teutonic Tank's not happy about something. He says, bro. I think he's just referring to the middle fight here, I don't know. But we're losing some position on the map here for the Otter One, as the Mangadai have proven to be a problem here.
Yeah, Mangadai can one-shot these cannons so easily. Mangadai bonus versus Siege is just so strong in practice. It feels quite horrible to bring Siege to a Mangadai fight.
Now Somero committing mid here. He's got quite the number of units here. We'll switch over to his resources. He has a ton of spam behind this. I mean, it's getting down there low enough that it is starting to be of a concern to the players. See what we can have occur here. Looks like we have a big push of raiding behind this. So Barles is actually sending all reinforcements back, and Somero looks like he's just going to surrender mid, actually, yet again.
I mean, he rightfully calculates that he couldn't hold it for 55 years. I mean, I think he loses a straight-up fight to the elephants alone. And look at this. He retreats, and the elephants get eaten by Halbs. This is perfect for Somero. And Otter do the dirty fighting for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's been interesting. We still have some raids going on in the back. Resources on the map, guys. There are still trees, obviously wood on the map, but looks like pretty much all of the golds. Looks like there's a little bit of gold here in Mastyjames' base that he has left. Otherwise, it's going to start to come down to the relics and the Fetorias for gold here. Teutonic Tanks might be gearing up to take a stab at this, though. He's making more and more walls. Says he wants protections, but Emu Warrior's not having it.
Yeah, I mean, Teutonic Tanks, it's kind of funny. The elephants are so strong versus Somero, but so weak versus the other players. There's a real triangle of counters going on here. Though, as I say that, actually, the Halbs counter everything if Barles isn't present. But Mangadai, with their mobility, could show up at any instant, and yeah. I don't know, man. It looks so difficult for any player to take mid here. Giant armies posture all around.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a bit rough here, obviously. Kind of surprised Somero hasn't gone after Barles in some way. But the Obuka are on the field. Halves wouldn't do good against those. That's true. I mean, Somero has quite the military army here.
He does. But it can't take mid versus Halbs and Elephants. I think that him and Barles have a sort of understanding. Somero and Barles, I don't know, they like having each other in the game. It gives them some comfort. I think it's a similar thing to Emu and Otter. Like, these players are familiar with each other. So much fighting going on every front. Probably best to just, you know, let sleeping dogs lie and not start an extra fight on the side.
Yeah, potentially for sure. I mean, they don't want to go up against each other, reduce their banks any more than they have to here. Poop Lord with the raid, thank you, man, appreciate it. Welcome, welcome to your viewers as well. For those who aren't aware, this is the grand finale of a $1,000 free-for-all tournament called King of the Jungle 2, sponsored by Medora.io. Instant payments at any price.
And I got to correct your name there. It's Banano to King of the Jungle.
What did I say, Medora?
Said King of the Jungle 2 or something like that.
Yeah, okay. My bad. Been a lot of talking the last couple days.
Indeed, yeah. I do think the Banano AoE tournament series will continue. And the sponsor has expressed interest in having another one, so maybe a once per year sort of thing. No idea what the next one will be, however.
Time will tell, time will tell. Teutonic Tanks holding mid right now. We'll see for how long. The thing with Emu Warrior sitting back like this is it's full Halb's SO. And it could do good against anything. AR-12, all but dead at this point. Mastyjames in the same boat. Just trying to hang on. AR-12 has 0 vills and only 6 population remaining. Looks like it's going to go down. GG from AR-12. Valiant fight here. Good job to hold as long as he did. Mastyjames, kind of in the same boat, down to like 6 pop, I believe. Just taking away the gold. Yeah, no wood. He's got 6 pop, all in the mid here, 1 vill. 2 vills.
Yep, I mean, but I appreciate the hanging on. I mean, anything is possible. At some point, you're hoping that the other players, like, drop or have to leave or something like that. The odds are so slim. But Mastyjames is still technically in it.
Yeah, and Barles is saying, I take your gold and then we peace. So he's just looking to get the gold off the map here. Barles...
I saw that gold pile, man. That gold pile's been tempting Barles for a long time.
Yeah, Barles has limited gold remaining here. As far as gold banks are concerned, Emu Warrior with 6,900, Teutonic Tanks with 6,800, and 4 relics. Teutonic Tanks definitely in the best position there. But we'll see what happens as Somero is starting to take down some of these walls here.
Yep. Somero is, I mean, his next natural enemy after cleaning Mastyjames is tanks. And similarly, I think Barles is lying when he says he just wants the gold. I mean, if he's going to attack anybody, it's going to be Otter.
Would make sense. Otter does not have a lot of population on the map, it feels like, because of the Fatorius. He only has 59 vills. Makes sense at this point, but where is the military numbers? Just a good number here, about 60 military on the field, it looks like.
I think his game plan is to wait until his Fatorias are the best eco in the game. But I feel like, I don't know, that's just so risky. There's like a very good chance the game ends before that point.
Yeah, it looks like we have Barles coming over here to fight with his Hussar against the Winged Hussar of Somero. So potentially he could turn his attentions north. The Mangudai are also headed towards the mid there. I mean, the more that all of these players fight, the more the strategies for Emu Warrior and the Otter One start to pay off here, where they are just sitting back, banking up the resources, hoping that everyone else is killing each other, essentially.
Indeed. I feel like it's a mistake, though, for Otter to let Barles take that gold uncontested. That's the Trojan horse right there. I can't imagine that Barles is going to stop with that. Though I suppose Otter's base is a little tough to take. I don't know, man. This battle that's happening in the mid right now is just insane. I don't even know what the players are fighting for. I guess it's just a war game, and eventually you gotta fight.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting... We're an hour and a half in-game time. There's a lot going on here. Those monkeys are Hussars, for those who aren't familiar. That just the Furious the Monkey Boy replaces them as a graphic. There is no additional statistic on that whatsoever. Looks like Barles is going to try for the mid here?
I mean, it's obviously impossible to hold, as 4 large enemy armies are, like, within vision. But at some point, you got to send some units and see if they let you have it. I don't know, man. This would be the most improbable hold ever. But, you know, if you never try, you'll never win. And it doesn't make too much sense to attack anyone else. He's maxed out with a big army. Not everybody has the patience of Emu and Otter.
Yep, AR12 in chat, man. Way to hold up against Barles for as long as you did. Hell of a hold. I mean, you survived for a good long time, but yeah, obviously between the fights, Barles, you know, took it. So, GG's. Well played. Fight for mid. This is really bad for Barles. His Mangadai are in the middle here. His siege is going down.
Mangadai need to evacuate. They're really expensive.
Yeah, it looks like he's a green. He has next to no gold as well. 32,000 or 3,200, I suppose, isn't half bad, but I mean, the fight in the mid has been pretty ramped up over the last little bit here. Barles trying to chat, and he's not happy about it. You're attacking me or something here, so. The gold was all taken up over here for Barles. I suppose the Otter just doesn't care because he has the Fetorias, right? So, still at 3 Fetorias. He's happy to sit back and bank the resources here.
From a Diplo standpoint, though, it just feels like a little bit of weak play to let, you know, somebody collect your gold like that. I guess all these players have proved themselves. There must be some mutual respect between all surviving players here. I don't think Barles could roll up Otter without taking huge damage, at least.
Yeah, I mean, difficult indeed. I mean, AR12 did a great job to hold against Barles for as long as he did. And now that AR12 is not in the game, I mean, this is a large area of the map that Barles just has available to him here. Mastyjames, alive with 1 vil, he says, "Can you let me live? Or let me in." Well, hopefully he doesn't walk under a castle or anything like that. But looks like Mastyjames just down to that vil there. I'm surprised that the Otter One has gotten away with the Fetorias and no one contesting them at this point.
Well, he had a buffer of AR on one side, and I think that he has just, like, peaceful understanding with Emu on the other. So, also low score. I don't think players are too scared of him. Clearly he has the potential to take mid, but I don't know. There's just been a knockout order here. 3 players have gone. Perhaps Otter would be the next logical victim if Barles wants to move that way.
Looks
as
like
the map dries up.
He's headed there now with a bunch of rams. I mean, the military here is going to be pretty good, but there's a lot of defenses here, a lot of military here.
This is a costly move, man. As the map dries up of resources, yeah, this is costing Barles a lot. I don't know if this is worth it, but as I said, like, players like Emu and Otter, they seem content to sit back for 10 hours if that's what it takes. Barles and Somero, I don't think so. At some point, they just have to do something. And if mid's untakeable and you have an opponent who's defeatable, I guess you go for the defeat.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, though, this is a costly affair over here. A lot of siege going down. Mangadai are starting to become under threat here. The siege onagers are killing a lot, but those are trash units, not gold units. So every Mangadai lost here is quite costly with the gold running out on the map.
And he's got a ton of weak Mangadai here, man. He's got to heal those things up before they all drop dead.
Yeah, and he's running in dangerously close to more Halberdier here. More Mangadai will go down. Somero also sending a few units over here. I don't know if he's just trying to take those somewhere else, but there he goes. Mastyjames has 1 villager chopping wood.
Yeah, it's decent of tanks to let that survive. I don't know. I don't think it really makes a difference strategically to let him survive at this point. Might as well.
Yeah, it's more and more difficult here. Barles will just be pushed back. He did clean up some of the units here for Otter, as well as some bombard towers, but all things considered, not the worst losses here. Somero in mid. Uh-oh, how does this game end, says Emu Warrior. Well, Emu Warrior has the largest bank of all players right now, as he's just sitting back at the moment.
Yeah. Is Emu Warrior done collecting resources as well? Is there anything left? He literally just idling?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Looks like
He's got a
it.
little food to take, but he's just chilling. The game is entering what could be described as the final phase here. We're no longer post-gold. We're post-resource, basically.
Yeah, I mean, there's still some wood in the various reaches of the map. Gold for Somero here still. Not a lot. A little bit of wood. Teutonic Tanks has a lot of the map controlled, though, so he's sitting on the most wood left to chop, it looks like.
Yep, and a lot of farms left to take as well. But yeah, how incredibly costly has this been for Barles?
Yeah, I mean,
Attempt to push Otter, and it doesn't even look like he won the fight. Honestly, opening up this can of worms, I think, is costing Barles the game.
yeah, Somero and Emu Warrior both just pinged over here, though. They are aware of what is going on here. They know that there's got to be Fatorias in play.
Indeed, yep, and we're entering the phase of the game where, I mean, the Fatorias are just like the equivalent of many relics, multi-resource relics. I mean, once wood becomes scarce too, Fatoria is just so overpowered. There is, however, a lot of wood left on the map.
Yeah, but it does continue to get to be less and less, and it looks like maybe we're going to have the Otter get attacked from another angle over here as the Mengadai and the Siege are starting to come down this way. Lots of bombard towers in defense, though.
He's hard to push, for sure. It seems like Otter is safe for the time being.
Yeah, I mean, interesting that we haven't seen Emu Warrior really fight at all with Otter. I mean, everyone is aware of the Fatoria play, as it looks like we do have Barles trying yet again to deal with this threat.
But the tower defense is on point. Fortified wall, multi-layer with bombard tower behind and cannon behind, I guess, is a difficult comp to break, if you can call that a comp.
Yeah, more and more fortified walls coming up behind this. Somero looks like he's posturing to take this here soon and make a real go of it. 17 siege rams, though.
He cannot push mid. He just simply would lose the fight to the Helbs and the Elephants. I think he knows this. He would sooner use this army to attack somebody's base, I feel. Maybe he's just taking a card out of Emu Warrior's playbook and just choosing to wait for a long time with a giant army.
Yeah, I mean, Somero says go away. Emu Warrior is just sitting here. He's not looking forward to that, so...
Yeah, trying to intimidate a little, literally just running the army near him, hoping that they run away. I don't think that the Halbs will be scared away, though, by the Winged Hussar.
Yeah, Otter has limited gold right now. He is spending a lot of resources, but obviously, looks like Teutonic Tanks and Emu Warrior might start to have a little bit of a feud. Burmese champions on the field, however.
As Tanks is starting to chip away at Emu Warrior, who I don't think has seen any action all game. Emu Warrior literally just collected all the resource in his segment of the map and has chilled.
$45 fills for Otter, yeah, and he's got Fatoria's bringing in that res. The fight for the mid, though, Emu Warrior will lose his force, but Somero spending more and more resources yet again here. A lot of wood and stuff for him still able to be taken. Big push coming, though. Barles is having none of this Vittoria play. Apparently, he wants to worry about taking care of that, leaving the mid to go between Somero, Teutonic Tanks, and Emu Warrior, it seems.
Yep, and despite being top scorer, Barles feels a little weak right now. I don't know, as the game drags on, I guess the relics of tanks and the Fatorias of Otter really seem like the most valuable assets a player could have.
Yeah, Otter is full defending on this side. He's looking to be fine here. He's got some light cav out to try to raid Barles, who still has wood in the north here, but otherwise that's about it for him as far as res is concerned.
Yeah, Barles is looking pretty done. I mean, I know he's top scorer, still has a good army, but how is he ever going to add more Mangadai? His resources are going to get pretty tapped soon. I think his window might have closed.
Yeah, I mean, this would be the really good time, though, if we wanted to see Emu Warrior go for something to try to deal with this, too. There's just so much in defense here. I mean, 17, 20, 30, whatever, bombard cannons, towers, I mean, hard to deal with.
Yeah, backed up by the cannons, rams won't work on it, cannons won't work on it, trebs won't work on it. Otter really does have an unbreakable base.
Yeah, and that's all he's going to do is just sit here and continue to collect resources. And I'm really just shocked that there's not been more of a fight back on that, to be honest.
I mean, he's been low score. He's the lowest elo player. And at this point, it's just too expensive to push him. Maybe if Barles had done it, Barles couldn't have done it sooner because AR was in the way. Yeah, by the time anybody tried to push Otter, you know, resources were already too valuable that it would be not worth it to lose everything attacking him. Plus, he has so many bombard towers. I think Otter's found himself in an incredible position for holding till mega late.
Yeah, Teutonic Tanks has quite the bank build up as well. Has really good military units on the field. He just continually has to deal with Somero trying to push him, but he's able to hold back just fine. Lots of Burmese elite battle elephants, onager, and obviously his infantry has that extra attack. Fight continues over here as Barles continues to fight with the Otter One. Otter's not even fighting with his full forces there, or Barles might just be pushed back.
Oh boy, yeah, as Otter, I mean, Emu has nothing to wait for. At least Otter, the Fatorias give him some incentive to wait a super long time. Emu isn't getting any stronger. I think his game plan is literally just to wait until everybody else in the game weakens each other, and I don't know if that's really gonna happen. I think that, like, the more time goes on, actually, the stronger tanks and Otter become relative to Emu. Like, if Emu doesn't take it now, I don't know how he's gonna be able to take it later.
I just don't think there's any taking it now. There's too many players boomed up with military on the map here. I mean, the Mangadai numbers are still quite impressive to be alive here with this. He's kept them up. The Light Cav have done some raiding, but the Vil is really not able to accomplish a whole lot more. I mean, they will hold for a while, obviously, but not sure that it's going to happen. Portuguese is just hoarding res, and you guys don't care. Yeah, that's that seems to be how it's been working out here.
Well, yeah, I mean, what can the other players do who aren't adjacent to him? Emu decided long ago to let that slide. It's not Tanks' responsibility. It's not Somero's responsibility. Just part of the free-for-all, man. He's gotten there.
Somero looks like he's gonna take a shot here though and go in.
I think it's worth the shot. I mean,
he can get through here now. Actually, he can do it.
Even if he takes out the Fatorias, though, they can be rebuilt. I kind of don't see this having any chance.
Yeah, not gonna be great. We'll see what happens here. Somero just says tanks retake mid, basically, so this might be the chance for Barles to have a shot at it here. He's sending Vils forward.
Yep, I like it. This is not the first time Barles has done this. He's taking a shot at mid. In theory, it shouldn't work. In theory, there's like many enemy armies capable of pushing him off. But if he sits back forever, I don't think he's going to win. He has no ultra late game win condition. I appreciate him taking the shot here. Yeah, he is showing everything the whole time, though. Perhaps it would be better for him to not have the entire force in mid, hoping that...
I think he's going to all in here, and he's just going to call GG if he doesn't take it. He's not happy about the Portuguese situation, I don't think.
Yep, it's reasonable. I mean, something's got to give. And, yeah, I think he might be losing some eco at home to raids.
Yeah, Somero's going to come and try to help here.
It's a solid hold, man. But as all the enemy armies come down on him, I pray for Barles here, dude. Like, this is quite the noble last stand we're witnessing.
Yeah, I mean, Emu Warrior finally showing his full forces here, getting these SO out and about, but 46 years.
Oh boy.
Gonna be hard to hold this.
Yeah, so man. Barles needs some of his own shots on this to do it. He's going to run with the manga die. He has enough of a bank. He does not need to go out this way. He's actually repelling the onagers. Nobody's really committing enough necessary to push him off, but with 40 years, it's not necessary for any of these players to sacrifice their gold armies in order to take Barles out here.
Yeah, I mean, the spam is there. If he can keep units in the mid, he might be able to hold this off. I mean...
would be a crazy hold. Look at all the enemy armies around. Like, this... There's no way that these, like, 20 manga die should survive against, like, 80 Hussar, 20 siege onagers, a ton of elephants, like, a ton of helves. Like, there's just so much here.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting pretty close. The closest it's been in the whole game here, though. 27 years.
Yep, and as the counter gets this low, Barles must be thinking, this is it. I think you send all and just pray that by some fluke units survive in mid.
I mean, he has the spam. He could keep this up.
He honestly needs more stables. He's queued like 20 stables across, and honestly, he has the pop space and the resources to be queued like 50 stables across, if not more. 15 years? It's getting there, man. You think it's possible?
It's getting up there. It's 10. They're getting close to 10 years. Big SO shots.
Everybody was too passive to let it get here. This is getting extremely tight.
There's a monkey in the middle still. I think that's the only thing keeping him alive right now.
For $700 here, they need to take out these monkeys. As that monkey in the middle is twitching out.
He's just gonna run. He's gonna try to run.
Oh my god, this is so close.
5 years, 4 years.
One in the mid needs to be focused. That needs to be seen.
It's only SO that can take it out. And right now, Somero's killing the SO. 1 year. It's over. Wow.
I am actually shocked.
What a freaking play.
Barles says, fuck yeah. He knows how improbable that hold was. I mean,
wow.
The military was there to eliminate him.
Yeah, that was nuts. I'm honestly shocked he was able to hold. Honestly, it felt like the Otter was just going to keep taking this down as long as he could. And, yeah, Barles, I honestly think Barles was pissed that no one else was attacking Otter for the Fedora play, so he said, screw it, I'll just go for this.
Yeah, and that was just crazy. That was just a show of raw strength. It shouldn't worked. I mean, like, the enemies had been a little bit better coordinated. They could have taken him down, but I mean, that was a tremendous spam, a lot of strong units, good micro, some nice walls to help.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
man, he
messy.
took it.
Messy at the end. Shocking finish here. Oh, I mean, we what can we say? A sick play for Barles. Barles takes it. Congratulations to Barles. Uh, Thank you to everyone, obviously, that participated in the event, in the finale here. Couldn't be more happier with the show, guys.
And huge thanks to the sponsor again, Medora Instant Payments at any price. All the winners, I'll pay out the prizes now. If anybody wants to accept their prize in Banano, I'll toss a little extra on top and appreciate it very much. But yeah, I'll coordinate the prize distribution in chat after we say our farewells here.
Yeah, absolutely insane, guys. Crazy, crazy end. The players are still talking about it here. Obviously, having a good time. And yeah, amazing game finale here. I mean, I think there's 8 units left in the center for Barles here. So, absolutely amazing. Loved it, loved it. Whew. Statistics wise, guys, we can look at everything here. Barles did have the most kills there. Obviously, he and AR-12 went at it for a very long time. Teutonic Tanks actually with the most food collected, wood for Barles, and then stone and gold for Otter One here, who was just holding on there with those Victorias, hoping he could outlast everyone, it seemed. Teutonic Tanks boomed up to the most vills. Most relics for Teutonic Tanks as well. But GG's. What a crazy game. I mean, they're still
Yep.
chatting about it here. They're still all over it, guys.
Yep, and Mastyjames very graciously says that Teutonic Tanks can have his share of the prize. So I guess that the kindness of Teutonic Tanks to let Mastyjames survive ends up being appreciated in the end.
Fair enough, guys. But just real quick, guys, I mean, we were presented with this great opportunity. Thanks to Medora, our amazing sponsor. To my knowledge, is the largest prize pool for a free-for-all tournament like this.
Yeah, I mean, I bet the Regicide Rumble might have been better. I don't know. We definitely more than doubled the prize pool for King of the Hippo. Definitely a good experience. Awesome to have the pro turnout. Awesome to have the turnout of the free-for-all scene. Yeah, a lot of lessons learned, which we'll try to use to make the next tournament better.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, a huge thank you to Medora for sponsoring the event, guys. Obviously, we hope you all enjoyed the game. I mean, it's been crazy. This last couple weekends, we've enjoyed being here with you guys, casting everything. Were there a few bumps along the road? Sure. There probably were a couple more than we wanted with the audio issues and stuff. So, thank you yet again for being here. I know a lot of you guys have been here in and out for the duration of every stream, so do appreciate that. Jabari, huge thanks to this guy over here. He did a ton of the admin work. I became sick whenever we were in the planning stage of this, and Jabari took everything under the way there, and thank you, sir.
No problem. I appreciate all the positivity. Yep. If any of you guys run web stores or games with e-commerce, check out the sponsor, please, Medora. Please remember Banano finally as well, or fondly as well. And yeah, thanks everybody. It's been great. Banano 3 should be on the horizon.
Always something coming next, guys. But again, hope you guys enjoyed. It's been great. We're gonna end the day here. Obviously, the finale. Congrats to Barles. Won the qualifier. Comes through. Wins the finale on a crazy finish there. And we'll have to see you guys next time. See what we have in store for you guys coming here soon.